Echo in the veins, desire, blood, madness. Dr. Celeste Veron had always believed that the body told the truth through pulse pressure and the rhythm of a heartbeat. But lately, her patients' hearts seemed to whisper her name. It began with the transfusions. Celeste, head of hematology at St. Orpheus Hospital, was known for her pioneering work in synthetic blood therapy, a technique using her own plasma as a biological stabilizer. It made her patients heal faster, stronger. Her research drew global acclaim, but soon after, the whispers began. Patients from the terminally ill to the mildly anemic reported strange sensations, a hunger beneath their skin, a longing they couldn't name. When they saw her, their pulses spiked. When she touched them, their tremors ceased. At first, Celeste dismissed it as psychosomatic. Then came the first bite. She awoke one night to find blood on her pillow, a thin crescent of punctures along her collarbone. The marks were too symmetrical, too deliberate. She ran her fingers over them, half expecting pain, but there was none, only warmth, almost pleasure. In the mirror, her reflection looked pale, fevered. The skin around her eyes shimmered faintly, as if the blood beneath had learned to glow. At work, she found herself distracted. A patient named Lila stared at her with glassy devotion, murmuring, "You're inside me now." When Celeste leaned in to take her pulse, Lila's hand shot out, clutching her wrist with startling strength. "I can feel you," she whispered. "You hum?" Celeste pulled away. But that night, she dreamed of standing in an endless red current, dozens of voices calling from beneath the surface. "Feed us. Heal us. Come home." Sleep eluded her. Each morning, new bite marks appeared, shoulder, thigh, neck, as though invisible mouths traced her veins in the dark. Security footage from her apartment showed nothing unusual. She slept still, motionless, her face serene. But in one clip, barely a second long, her body twitched and her eyes opened. The next day, she confronted her colleague, Dr. Marin, the only person she trusted. "Something's happening to me," she said. "My patients, they crave me." Marin frowned. "Celeste, your therapy uses living cells. If there's any trace of—" "I tested the samples," she interrupted. "No pathogens, no anomalies, except—" she hesitated. "Every transfusion sample now contains my DNA, but not human." "Not entirely." Marin laughed nervously. "Not human? What are you suggesting?" Celeste didn't answer. Instead, she reached out to steady herself, and when her fingers brushed his wrist, his breath hitched, pupils dilating. He whispered, "You're warm," and she knew. Whatever she had put into her patients, it wasn't just blood, it was her. Something deeper, something ancient, echoing in the pulse of every person she'd ever touched. Celeste began to lose time. Hours vanished. She'd awaken in places she didn't remember walking to, the blood bank, the morgue, the river that curved behind the hospital like a dark vein. In her dreams, she saw figures in white, surgeons with blackened eyes, whispering, "The cure is the contagion." One night, she awoke standing in her lab. Around her, transfusion bags hung empty, crimson streaks glistening on the tiles. Her reflection in the sterile glass wasn't hers. It smiled before she did. "Who are you?" she whispered. Her reflection's lips moved. "You are the vessel. We are the echo." She stepped closer, heart pounding. The reflection leaned in, its eyes luminous and wild. "Do you think blood forgets where it came from?" Then the lights went out. The next morning, the hospital was chaos. 6 patients had vanished overnight. Lila was found in the chapel, kneeling before the altar, her mouth stained red. "She came to us," she said, eyes distant. "She gave us life." Celeste stumbled back, trembling. "No, I didn't." But even as she spoke, she felt it, the hunger rising. A deep, thrumming call from inside her veins. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum, summoning others to join. Her hands shook. She fled to her apartment, locking the door, but her reflection waited. It was no longer a mimic. It was watching. "I don't want this," she whispered. The reflection smiled sadly. "You already fed." "You always do." Memory hit her, nights spent wandering, kneeling beside the sleeping bodies of her patients, pressing her lips to their skin, not to harm, but to take back what was hers. Every transfusion, every drop of her blood, now calling to her, demanding reunion. By dawn, she returned to St. Orpheus. The halls were silent. Every monitor flatlined. Her patients were gone, but she could feel them through the pulse of the walls, through the hum of the lights. The building itself seemed alive, veins of red threading through the plaster. The air smelled of metal and salt. At the center of the lab stood a single transfusion bag, filled not with blood, but with light. It pulsed softly, like a heart. Celeste approached, her reflection glimmering in its surface. "Is this the end?" she whispered. "No," said the reflection. "The beginning. Blood remembers. It always comes home." Celeste smiled faintly, a tear streaking her cheek. "Then let it." She opened the valve. The light flooded her arm, racing up her veins, illuminating her from within. Her body convulsed, pain and ecstasy intertwined. And then she was still. When the police arrived hours later, they found no trace of Dr. Celeste Veron, only a thin crimson mist lingering in the air, humming faintly like a living pulse. In the weeks that followed, nurses whispered of a presence in the transfusion ward, a warmth that brushed against their skin, a voice that murmured through the hum of machines, "You are healed." "You are mine."